guys, welcome back to my channel. If you've been here before, welcome if you're new. I'm Karen Casey. Today I'm just doing a tutorial on this look right here. I was playing with some of my makeup and I came up with this eye look, and it seemed like something I might wear on a first date, or or someone might wear on a first date if they get dates. I don't. I don't. So it's just very soft and romantic, and it's not overly metallic or anything, but it's not overly matte because we use mattes and satins and a nice subtle highlight, and it just seems very appropriate for some sort of romantic endeavor. So I'm gonna stop babbling. We're gonna get into the makeup, and yeah, if you want to know how I did this, keep watching. So first I'm gonna take my Jaclyn Hill palette. I'm just using like a bunch of the transition shades in here. So if you don't have this particular palette, just find something that has like these light tan shades, and if you have a dark red maroon sort of color, that would be good. It's not absolutely necessary. You can still do this look without it. It's just helpful. So yeah. I'm taking my Y15 and Silk Cream first, and I'm just going to put this through the whole crease. I have already primed my eyes with concealer and setting powder, just so you know. Prime your eyes however you like and see fit. Alright, when that's all blended out, I'm going to take M.F.E.O. on the same Y15. Try to focus it a little lower, but not really. You're kind of just layering to build up the color. Okay, next I'm going to take butter on my Y19, and I'm going to focus this more on the outer half of the crease, but I am going to blend it in, and I am focusing it a little lower. Alright, and once the intensity is built up as much as you want, and it is all blended out, I'm going to take my Absolute Shadow Brush from It Brushes for Ulta. A good alternative to this, if you do not have this or if it's too expensive, is the Morphe Y18. This is a little bit fluffier, but that will get the job done. And I'm going to go in with the shade Pooter in the palette, this one here. And this one I'm going to really focus on the outer portion of the eye and just kind of wiggle my brush back and forth until the product is primarily here, and then I'll blend it forward. And by forward, I mean to the inner corner of my eye. And I'm turning my brush, because I was going in this way, I'm turning it this way, just to blend out the color a little better. You get a bigger like surface area. Not really, but it changes how the color blends depending on how you're holding it. And I'm kind of going back and forth between the different positions of holding it just to get a really nice blend, trying to focus it a little lower than the other colors. Alright, and on my e.l.f. crease brush, I'm going in with the shade Buns, and I'm going to do the same thing I did with Pooter. I'm going to keep it kind of out here. I'm trying to focus it even a little bit lower and deeper in that crease. And then I'll pull it forward. And I'm not really going to blend with this brush. This is good for applying the shadow very precisely where you want it. It doesn't blend so well, so I'll grab another brush to actually blend this color out. So now I'm going to take my Effortless crease brush from It Brushes for Ulta. The Morphe Y16 is a good alternative, or a decent alternative to this. They're the same shape. This is quite a bit larger, so it's going to disperse the color a little bit more. So you want something, so here's this for reference. You want something about this size if you can manage it. If you have this, go ahead and use it. Just be careful. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to just kind of fluff this around. Or not, I'm not going to fluff it around. I'm blending it out. And the color that I pulled forward with that crease brush, I'm now going to pull back, just so that it mostly stays on the outer corner. Okay, once that is blended out and you have no harsh lines, take a little detailing sort of pencil brush. I have the Y22, and I'm going to take this shade right here, which is Jacz, and on the tip of my brush, I'm going to add this to my outer crease, and I'm stopping it at about this side of my iris. Alright, now I'm going to take my Y18. If you have the other brush, the It brushes for Ulta brush, you can use that, but again, that's a little bigger, so it's going to fluff out the color a little more. I want to keep this more precise, so I'm going in with something flat this way. You see how it's like very flat like that, so that it fits in the crease really well, and smaller than the It brushes for Ulta brush, because that will fluff out the color a little too much. Now that that's mostly blended out, I'm going to take my Urban Decay Shapeshifter palette and just go into this matte cream shade right here. You can use any matte cream bone shade, and just to soften and blend all of this together, I'm taking any fluffy blending brush. This is the Tarte Unicorn one. They're not selling that anymore, although I wish they would. Just any fluffy regular blending brush is fine. And with that same brush, or any fluffy blending brush, I'm going to go back in with Silk Cream and just blend out the edges a little bit and just put that gradient look back in. For the lid, I'm going to be using the ColourPop Super Shock shadows that they collaborated on with No Kill LA and with Laura Lee. For two of them, she did Glitz and Shiny. ColourPop did Puppy Love on their own, but all of the proceeds from these shadows went to No Kill LA, or Best Friends of something. It went to benefit little animals in shelters. If you do not have these three colors, but you have the Jaclyn Hill palette, Shiny is similar to Jacz, but I would mix in some sort of brown, either probably Chip would be your best color. It's such a warm brown. For Glitz, I would probably mix Jacz and maybe Roxanne, maybe Buns, somewhere in there. And for Puppy Love, you could probably get away with using Faint. Okay? The finishes aren't exactly the same. I mostly mentioned mattes and a shimmer. Faint is the only shimmer in there. The rest were mattes. These are all satins, but the colors are similar. So you're not going to get exactly the same look, but close enough. So I'm first going to take Glitz on a Y20. Any sort of flat pencil brush will work. And I'm going to pack this on to the outer portion of my eye, about halfway. And make sure to cap these tight so they don't dry out. And then I'm going to move to Shiny, and just on the tip of this, I'm going to place it in my crease and along my lower lash line, so that's the outer V. And then I'm going to take my e.l.f. blending brush. Not the world's best blending brush, but it's really nice and flat and sort of tapered, so it's the shape I need. If you guys have a different brush with sort of the same shape to it, use that. And I'm just going to blend that crease and along the lash line. Sometimes when I do an outer V, definition thing, I'll kind of have the two lines meet in the middle. I'm not doing that. I'm just blending out those lines as they are. And I'm just going in and blending the crease a little more, because we have 2 new colors in there. So those got to be blended out a little bit. And now I'm going to take Puppy Love on my ring finger. You can use whatever finger you want. And I'm going to pack this on the bare part of my lid and overlap it a little bit with the other colors we have down so it's blended. And then what this is good for blending out, this e.l.f. crease brush, is the lines on your lid. So I'm just going to do a little across my lid where those 2 colors meet so that we don't have any harsh lines. And then I'm going to take my Y19 again, and in the crease do a little 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's it for the eyeshadow. You can zhuzh it up a little bit and use, a metallic instead of a satin, or, more of a shimmer instead of a satin. You can deepen the outer crease more. You can do lots of things with this look. And you can go more subtle with it. You don't have to blow it out as much. You don't have to darken it as much. There's lots of things you can do to play with this. Speaking of playing, I'm going to do eyeliner now. My, sad, downturned puppy dog eyes look best with some winged liner to pick up the edges of my eyes a little bit. You can just do regular solid liner, that doesn't have a wing. You can smoke the liner out a little bit to make it a little softer, things like that. And you can use a brown eyeliner instead of a black. There's so much you can do with this look. I'm going to do my basic black winged eyeliner. And I've done that before, and I'm going to try to do a new tutorial on it because I do my winged liner a little differently these days. So I'm not gonna do it right now. I'm gonna delete me doing my winged liner, so I'll be right back. Okay, so the eyeliner is done. I'll be honest, I didn't plan on making the wings this big. I usually make my winged liner smaller, but it kind of got away from me, and this is what it is. We're gonna go with it. I think it looks okay, it's just not what I was going for, So, make the winged liner whatever size you want. So, now I'm gonna go in with foundation. I'm gonna use my NYX Total Control drops. I'm gonna shake these up really well. And I'm gonna take my Y6 from Morphe, and I'm gonna put 2 drops on my cheek and blend that out. And I'm avoiding my directly under my under eye on my under eye because I'm gonna put concealer there, and putting concealer and this foundation on top of each other is a little too much makeup. It gets a little cakey. And I'm gonna put 2 drops on my forehead. And then 1 on my nose. And 1 on my chin. This is for, a full coverage. If you do not want as full of a coverage, use less drops. The directions on it, I think, suggest, 1 to 3 drops for sheer coverage, 4 to 5 for medium, and 6 for full. As we saw, I did like 7 or 8, because I find it to be not quite as full coverage as it claims to be, unless you use more than 6 drops. And I like my coverage, so I do a lot of drops. Okay, and I am not going to set this. This foundation does not play well with the powders that I have. It just sort of cakes up and does weird things. It does best if I just leave it alone. So next I'm going to go in with my other NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer. This is Chantilly, and I'm going to use this to conceal my under eye and highlight the center of my face. And I'm going to blend this out with my Y10 and just sort of stipple everything back and forth. And my brush is a little bit dirty right now, so it's leaving some brush streaks. So I'm just going to go with my finger to just smooth that out. And then pretty immediately, I'm going to go in with my e.l.f. translucent powder. If you are going to be taking any photographs and there's going to be potentially flash photography, don't use this one. This will flash back really bad. The Too Faced Ethereal powder, the Cover FX setting powder, some of those won't flash back, so I would invest in those. But I'm not going to be taking any flash photography, so I don't need to worry about that. Alright, and I'm just going to do the same thing on my other eye. And I'm going to cut that for time's sake. And by the way, for the powder, I'm using my Y11. I like it because it's nice and small. And I don't end up getting powder on the foundation. I just put it on my concealer. But you can use any fluffy powder brush you want. I used to not do this next step because I didn't think it made that big of a difference. But then I actually did it, and it does make a bit of a difference. So I'm going to take that same concealer and I'm going to put it on my forehead, the bridge of my nose, my cupid's bow, and my chin, just to highlight the center of my face and balance out these highlighted under eyes. So I'm just going to do a little of this, here, and there. And I'm going to take that same Y10 and just blend this out. I'm mostly stippling just to keep the product where I put it, but I am doing a little bit of buffing like on my forehead and on my chin. And I'm going to take my Y11 again with that same powder and just put it where the concealer is. Okay, I'm going to take my Profusion face palette and go to this bronzing shade, or contour shade. On the plastic, they call it the Shadow Bronze, whatever. And on my e.l.f. contouring brush, just right on the edge of it, I'm going to draw that contour line in the hollow of my cheek. I'm going to take my Y8 to quickly blend this out. This is a bigger brush, so it's going to get the job done a little faster and make it look a little softer and diffuse the color a little more. However, if you start going in like this, it's going to buff out the color too much and it's going to start to look muddy. Contour is supposed to be very precise and very chiseled, so you'll notice I'm just going back and forth. I'm not going up or down, I'm not doing circles, just back and forth to keep that color right where I put it. And because this foundation is not set, the powder is going to stick to it a little more, so you're going to have to blend for a little bit longer than you would had you set the foundation. But like I said, setting this foundation doesn't seem to work all that well, so, pick your battles. Okay, and with that same brush and same powder, I'm just gonna contour my jaw and my forehead. And this one I kind of will buff a little more, in circular motions, because I put it in such a thin strip around my head. I'm okay with moving it down more. So I will buff this, whereas on my jaw and for my cheekbones, I was just going back and forth. Here I will go in circular motions. Now we are all contoured and chiseled out. I'm going to jump to my brows. I was gonna include the brows in this, but I think I'm going to make that a separate tutorial and save some time here. Yeah, okay. Okay, brows are all done. Now that the brows are done, I'm going to highlight my face. Dark. I'm looking for a brush, in case you're wondering what's happening. Starting with my brow bone and the inner corner, because the eyeshadow we have is satin. There's no like shimmer or metallic or anything right now. I'm gonna go in with Enlight in the Jaclyn Hill palette versus Beam. Beam is a little brighter, a little shinier. Beam is a little more subtle, so I think that goes with our satin eyeshadow a little better. Don't get me wrong, it's still very bright and very shiny and shimmery. It's just not as much as Beam. And I'm going to do the same for the brow bone. I'm using Enlight, and I'm just putting it right here, and I'm blending it forward and toward the tail. Alright, now for actually highlighting the face. I want something a little on the subtler side, so I'm taking my e.l.f. Baked highlighter and bronzer in Bronzed Glow on my Y14. You can make this a very blinding highlight with your finger, and if you get past that top layer and like really dig in, you see how I have this little divot here? This is a very different texture than that top layer and is very pigmented. So if you get like a little divot in your own and use your finger, you can make a very blinding highlight. With a brush, it's going to be a little subtler, so I'm going to stick the brush kind of in that little divot and highlight my cheekbones. You can also wet your brush for more pigment. And I'm going to do my Cupid's bow. And that's it for highlight. You can go much more intense if you want. I'm going for a soft, a soft, subtle thing. Yeah. Now for lashes. I'm gonna curl my lashes first so that they'll, be the same kind of shape as the false lashes. And we'll meet up with them. I'm going to use my e.l.f. 3-in-1 mascara just to darken up the lashes so that you can't tell the difference between them and the false lashes. A lot of people will use... I can't talk and do mascara at the same time. A lot of people will use mascara after putting on false lashes to kind of bind the two together. I stink at doing that. I end up with mascara all over my false lashes and I ruin them, so I'm doing it first. And if you're going to use setting spray, before doing mascara would probably be the time to do it so that it doesn't run and you don't get your false lashes wet, because that can be bad for them. Honestly, I'm almost out of my setting spray. I have to go to the store, so I don't want to waste what little I have left on something that I'm going to take off when I finish the video. So, not going to do setting spray. But if you're going to actually wear your makeup out, I would suggest wearing setting spray. And while the mascara dries, I'm going to go into that Profusion face palette again. And on my Y4, I'm going to go into this coral shade. I haven't actually tried the blushes. Ooh, that's a lot. I haven't tried the blushes yet, so we're going to see how this goes. I could destroy this whole thing. We're going to find out. And I'm going to place it on the apples of my cheeks and blend it back. That's actually really pretty. That's a nice color. It's blending nicely. Just make sure to tap off excess. I'm going to do my lower lashes before I do the false lashes. I don't really know why. That's just kind of how I do it. Ignore that this is pink. It's supposed to be white. Just go with it. So for the lower lashes, I'm going to start with my NYX Big and Loud Liquid Primer. And I'm using the primer because the false lashes are going to be so big that I want my lower lashes to be a little bigger than they are with just mascara. Just to match, because otherwise it can look a little off balance. So the primer helps to build up the lashes more. Alright, and for the lower lashes, I'm going to take my Essence Rock and Doll Volume and Eye Opening Mascara and just put that on. Alright, now I'm going to try to put on some false lashes and probably fail, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I put on the House of Lashes Tinkerbell Neverland lashes. I really like these. They're just very long and flirty and very appropriate for this look. And the last thing to do is the lips. I'm going to put on some chapstick first. I'm using the Blistex Daily Conditioning Treatment. This works well, but they're not cruelty-free. I've had this forever. You can see the product is almost gone. Usually I use Burt's Bees because they don't test on animals. And yeah. Oh, I have a lot of foundation on my mouth. Okay, so I'm just taking a tissue and I'm wiping off the foundation that got on my lips. I'm gonna reapply that chapstick. Okay, and I'm gonna take Butt Naked from Jeffree Star Summer Collection. If you do not have this, I want to say Morphe still has it, but I could be wrong. Do not quote me on that. Any nude would be perfect with this. I didn't contour my nose. You can contour your nose, that is a thing. I'm gonna do that real quick. I always forget to do that. How do I always manage to forget to contour my nose? I don't understand. And you of course do not have to contour your nose. I feel like my nose looks a little big once I've pushed, everything else in. My cheeks are, thinner, my jaw is a little stronger, my forehead probably looks a little smaller, so then my nose looks very out of place without a contour, so that's why I do that. So I took my contour shade and my e.l.f. contouring brush just to draw the lines. Now I'm actually going to take this little dome top brush. It's from Precision Formula. It came with a foundation that I tried and didn't like, but this works well for my nose contour. You can also use an eyeshadow brush, just something little. Okay, now our face is all balanced. So I'm going to take my Sephora lip gloss. Sephora does test on animals. They do sell brands that don't, though. So I will not be repurchasing this gloss when I run out of it, but for right now it's a very nice gloss. It's just a shiny nude. It's called Perfect Nude. There's no glitter or anything in it. It's just a nude gloss. So anything like that will do. And this shade, Butt Naked, tends to exaggerate lines and cracks and does weird things on me. A lot of the other things in this collection do not. But I just like to pop a gloss over this. And that just kind of smooths out any cracky weirdness. And there we go. That is this soft, sort of romantic looking makeup. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Let me know if you liked this video, if you want to see more things like this. And I can do that for you guys. Again, thank you for watching. I will see you in my next video. I love you guys. Bye.